Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Alex Cook. This video, I want to talk about something different than my usual topics about cryptocurrency or finance. I want to go back to a military topic because I made a video a little while back talking about why I left finance to join the military. I joined the U.S. Army through officer candidate school. So I graduated college back in 2009, but this is something that's always been on my mind. I wanted to make another video on this because the last video that I made was really the first time that I talked about something like this publicly. So there were some thoughts that I kind of left on the table. So I wanted to expand on that a little bit. But another reason is just the number of people that reached out after this video. I was kind of surprised by that. I got a lot of messages from people in finance, and some were at some pretty legit firms too, talking about thoughts they had of their own of joining the military. So let's talk about this because a lot of what they were asking brought up one similar theme in particular, and what that was is I really felt the real thing they were looking for. It wasn't so much information about the military; it's that they just wanted someone to give them permission. Let's talk about this. So what I mentioned in the video that I made before is, look, the upper middle class society that I grew up in, military service was kind of looked down upon, right? Not in a political sense, not in like a, like anti-military type sense. It wasn't like that, but in a sense like, oh, well, that's blue collar work. Like, we're too good for that kind of thing. Now, obviously, I disagree because I joined. But that being said, I mean, look, people are influenced by their peer group. What I want to say, though, because, I mean, look, maybe you disagree and that's fine, but you clicked on this video, so I assume you have an interest. You might be the only one out of your peer group that has an interest in this, or at least has said it publicly, but you're definitely not the only one. Like, you're definitely not the only one who has thought about this or made a career change from finance or whatever other field you're in. Maybe you're in consulting, maybe you're in, whatever. You're definitely not the only one that's done this. I think maybe I'm just the one that talked about it publicly on YouTube, so it got other people thinking, but you're not the only one that's ever done this. So in my OCS class alone, we had people from BNY Mellon. We had people from Merck in my class. A number of NCOs too, that they were in the military and they wanted to make the jump from the NCO side to the commissioned officer side. But, really in my OCS class, there's only maybe like 2 or 3, honestly, that were just fresh out of college. Most were career switchers of some sort, or they were in the military and they wanted to move up to become an officer. So what I wanted to go back to is, like, when people reached out and asked me about, my experiences or what I thought about the military is, I was getting that vibe that, look, the information I have, you could probably get better information elsewhere. Like, I am a first lieutenant, so I've done a few things, but it's not like I've been in the Army for 20 years. So as far as like actual information about the military, I mean, yeah, I got some experiences. I have some things I could talk to, but I mean, there's whole books on this. Like, there's whole really in-depth documentaries. I mean, people can get information about the military. I think why they reached out to me is just I talked about leaving a finance job to go into the military, and I think they just wanted like someone to tell them that, hey, it's okay to do this. So what I want to tell you is you don't need anyone to tell you it's okay to do this. Like, just go do it. Like, you don't need my permission. You don't need anyone else's permission. But I mean, okay, if it makes you feel better, then sure, you have my permission. Like, you are hereby blessed to go forth if it's something that you want to do. So what I want to talk about is just kind of the mindset, why you shouldn't overthink that too much, and then kind of go into my experiences, maybe provide some value with that. But look, as far as what you tell people, you can tell them whatever you want. I mean, you don't have to tell them anything. You can give them a serious answer if you want, like respectfully kind of explain your positions. And, well, if they don't want to respond respectfully, then you can just stop talking to them. Look, honestly, when I opened up to people about this, I had maybe like 2 people that express something like kind of like a negative hater comment, and that was out a lot of people I talked to. So the majority were just kind of curious, like, okay, why do you want to do that? Some people were actually kind of said, hey, I could totally do something like this. It was a very small amount that kind of had like some weird kind of vibe to that. Part of that is I already put conscious effort beforehand in, kind of being a bit more selective of who I hang out with. I mean, you don't necessarily need to hang out with the same people you grew up with back in the day. I mean, shocking. Because I mean, what are we really talking about here? Like I said like the upper middle class society that maybe you grew up in watching this video. I mean, the person that you went to gym class with in 7th grade, okay, or some random person that's still on your Facebook that you took like intro to economics with your freshman year and haven't really talked to him since then. I mean, honestly, who cares? Like, these people were arbitrarily assigned to you. It's not like you really put some thought into, hey, who is my tribe? Like, who really shares my values? Like, if you're really worried about just what random people that were kind of just assigned to you think, look, the sooner you stop worrying about this stuff, like, your life is just going to get better. Like, if you got negative people like this, just delete them off Facebook, stop taking their calls. And, like, if this sounds like really harsh, look, give it a year and you're going to thank me. Or you're going to say, oh, I wish I should have done this. Like, anyone like high level in finance or in any field, like, they are not going to be offended by what I just said. Because, like, they do the exact same thing. Like, I picked up on this from them. Like, I was in a business group in college. We had the speaker dropped out of North Carolina, which is my college, his junior year to start his business, which became very successful. That was one of the first things he said is, look, just cut negative people out of your life. So, like, I'm not worried about saying this because, like, people like high level in finance, like, they do the exact same thing. So, I mean, just read Elon Musk's biography or read Jeff Bezos' biography. Like, these were not the most agreeable people. Not like maybe they want that in their employees, but like to get to their level, like, these were not the most agreeable people that were just going along with like, what does society say, or, what does the media say, this and that. Like, they were blazing their own trail. And look, I'd be happy to be like 10% of what, a guy like Elon Musk did. If I just follow like the default path of society, I'm not even getting 1%. So why am I talking about this so much? Like, what really are we defending here? Like, what is honestly so cool about just watching Netflix shows and buying Amazon products? Like, stop me if this sounds familiar. All right. Probably you might have been on path. You took AP classes in high school. Okay. You're told to go to a top 25 school or top 10 if you get into that. Go into IB or an MBB consulting firm. Okay. Then MBA, then hedge fund or private equity. Okay. Like, does this like ring a bell? Like, I mean, that can be a cool path. Like, if that's really your passion, then great. But, a lot of people that just kind of go down this track, they don't even make it an IB or anything like that. They just kind of go down this track. There's not a whole lot of thought process put into it. It's for what? So you can be like in your boxy, like, Amalie apartment, buying Amazon products. And look, for some people, maybe that's great. Maybe it's great that you got like your man cave, drinking beer and that, or whatever. But I think if you clicked on this video, there's something else that you want to do. Now, look, I'm going to go back into finance at some point because, look, we all get out of the military one way or another. Maybe you stay into retirement. Maybe you just do your time. Maybe you take it, 1 or 2 terms and then call it good. So I am going to go back to that at one point. But that's because, look, I have a legitimate interest in finance. I didn't do it just because it's like the cool new thing or because some guy in college said so or because society said so or something like that. It's like, no, like, I wake up, like, I actually am interested in markets. Like, this has been something I've been interested in for a long time. It's not like, oh, well, it's prestigious or whatever. Like, dude, I knew this guy in college. Okay. He was saying he wanted to be a lawyer, then he wanted to be a doctor, then he wanted to be an investment banker. It's like, dude, are you just like picking random things that try to sound impressive? Like, are you just like trying to pick random things that like upper middle class people that like listen to podcasts that is going to impress them? Or like, do you even know what you want? Like, medicine and investment banking, like that's not even like similar at all. Like, are you just like trying to pick random high status stuff? So if you're just like status chasing, I mean, honestly, that sounds miserable. Like that sounds miserable. Like, seriously. So point being is, look, do what you want. So I think I beat that one into the ground. I will talk though about just kind of my experience a little bit, and maybe that can provide you with some value as well. Is that, look, you're not answerable to people from your past. You're answerable to people from your future. Okay, if you're worried about what your peer group might think, look, your true friends, like, they're going to be there for you, and if they're not, well, then they're not your true friends. And it's better that you find this out now than down the road when, maybe you have like a serious life event or something and you need support. Like, they're not going to be there for you. All right, sorry, but that's how it is. Realize though, if you do join the military, that you're going to make a new peer group too. I mean, like anything, it takes a while to make friends, but you're going to meet a new peer group. Like some of my best friends are people that I would not have met otherwise if I didn't do this. I'm grateful that I did. Like I've learned a ton about leadership, did some things that I just would not have done elsewhere. Like there's some things in modernity that you just can't do outside of something like this. Like I was able to jump out of a helicopter in air assault school. That was pretty fun. Got to blow up a lot of stuff with C4 and, got to lead soldiers. That was a lot of fun being a platoon leader. I had two platoons. I was a medic platoon leader. I'm an engineer officer, but our battalion, or we called a squadron, didn't have a med services officer, so I was filling that role. And then I was a combat engineer platoon leader, so had a lot of fun blowing things up and running a bunch of ranges. Doing squad exercises. It was fun, and you just can't really do this somewhere else. So am I going to be doing this forever? No, because we all get out one way or another. But I'm grateful that I did. I would say one thing that held me back in the past was the idea of that commitment for multiple years. But just as time was going on in my career, I just wasn't really that emotionally attached to what I was doing. And I mean, it wasn't like I was, Bezos or Musk, just like killing it, like building a business of my own and super happy with it. The time's going to go by no matter what. Whether it's 4 years or longer, I mean, that time's going to go by no matter what. So I decided, I'd rather spend that 4 years, maybe doing something that I could be proud of later in life and maybe have a, couple cool stories to tell my grandkids or something rather than, hey, I just spent the same 4 years doing the same old, just 9 to 5 and buying some more Amazon products. Hey, for some people, maybe that's fine. And look, to each their own. I'm not trying to say my values are better than anyone else's, but for me, it wasn't enough. And I think for the ones that were reaching out and had questions for me, it wasn't enough for them either. So look, point being, do what you want. You don't need anyone's permission. I hope I really stress that point, but sometimes people just need that reminder. Look, Steve Schwartzman, he was in the Army Reserves. There's actually like a really good representation on Wall Street of military veterans. Like that network is big. So, I mean, just keep that in mind as well. Like finance is always going to be there, but something like this, well, one, there's an age limit to it, depending which branch you go into. Also, you might want to consider, if you're joining while you're single and don't have any kids, it might be easier to do that too. So just kind of think about that as far as like family obligations. I mean, people join, married with kids. Just for me, I joined without, single, and I just imagine it'd be harder to join later on in life when maybe you have some more serious obligations like that. So do what you want. It's your life. That's a bottom line. It's your life. And look, military is not for everybody. I'm not trying to be a recruiting commercial with this. I can just say it helped me out. Maybe there's something else you want to do. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's Peace Corps. Maybe you start your own business, or maybe you really do love financial services. I mean, I find it interesting too, but maybe that really is your passion. What I just don't want is to see people just follow a blind path because of status or because just random people that they grew up with from like 10 years ago or some random person in high school, like they're worried about that opinion. I think one thing that we have a problem is like in modernity, like in modern society, you don't really have that concept of a rite of passage where it's like, all right, you're your own person now. Like you're a grown man, you're a grown woman now. It's time to blaze your own trail now. So because of that, people just go on this default path. It's like, all right, go to college. Why? Because you go to college. Okay, yeah, but why? Look, you don't need to go to college to party. Like I'm not like shocked that people are partying. Like you're adults. Like I don't care. But like, just go to Vegas. Go to Miami if you want to party. And like, trust me, like the parties in Vegas are a lot better than drinking Busch Light or Milwaukee's Best in some just crap tier college bar. Okay, playing like Cotton Eye Joe or something like that on the sound system. Okay, like no, all right, no, like been there, done that. If you want to party, there's way better opportunities than just going to college. Like I mean, sure, have fun, make friends, do your thing, do whatever. Like I'm not here to moralize. I'm just saying like you don't need to spend 5 figures or 6 figures. More importantly than that, 4 years of your life to just party or just do it because it's like the upper middle class thing. I mean, you should be going because you want to get an education. And if there's not something you want to study, then all right, well, maybe let's figure that one out first. So just my thoughts on this. If you got any comments, leave it below. I am on YouTube and I am also on Rumble. I'm on 2 different platforms. It's going to be the same content. It just makes sense not to have all your content in one basket nowadays. I mean, there's a lot of concern about algos, a lot of concern about platform moderation. So I just want to have all my eggs in one basket as far as my brand. Anyways, provocative video. A lot of thoughts on this, but it's probably some more thoughts too, because I haven't really talked about this as much. So may have some more to say on this issue too. But look, it's your life. Do what you want. I'm out. All right, just one last thought too. So this isn't just a whole video about how you shouldn't just worry about what other people are saying, although that is all valid. Look, why you might get some pushback too is people just don't really understand the military or what it's all about. I mean, maybe their only experience with it is like Call of Duty games or, movies, something like that. I mean, you have less than 1% that have actually served, and a lot of it tends to come from families where it's, one generation does it and then another generation. And, maybe you had a grandparent that was, maybe in World War II or Korea, something like that, or younger generation, maybe it was Vietnam, something like that. But you might just not have that now. Maybe they were just drafted in and it is what it is, but it wasn't like a military tradition. It wasn't like a family tradition. So part of it, people just don't understand it. So if that's the case, if they're listening to you respectfully and want to hear your points, I mean, maybe just talk about like, hey, here's the reasons why I wanted to join. I want to do something that's a bit more team oriented. I want to do something that is a public service or whatever the case may be. I just explain it like that because people are going to be leery of what they don't understand. So that's if you choose a path where you want to explain it. But again, just keep in mind too, you're not under any obligation to explain things to anyone. So if you want to talk about your close friends, your family, by all means, but random Facebook people that you went to like gym class with in 7th grade, honestly, if they like it, great. And if not, no loss to you. Do what you want. Take care.